Hi guys, I'm just gonna do this quickie here. This is aimed at people who practice magic of some sort or another, and this is an article that I actually wrote, believe it or not. So I'm just gonna read through it because I'm, this way because I'm too lazy to put on a wig or anything. And it's called "Are You a Good Demon or a Bad Alien?" And it is covering actually a couple of things that I've been noticing because, as you know, most of my commentaries are about our society and how we're treating each other. So I'm just going to read it, and I'm going to read fast. And this is don't know if I've scrolled up enough, but it's at my blog Thingstead at WordPress.com, and I don't really go to this blog often, so that's why you don't see me mentioning it often. It's because it's just a thing. Okay, so so all around the world, people who deal with demons, otherwise known as Manitou, in some fashion and not necessarily by possession, and those who deal with the alien element, they have something in common. Both aliens and demons manifest themselves in some fashion in the encounter. Sometimes the style of those encounters overlap. And by demons, I'm referring to demons in the demonolatry sense. There are people out there who, of course, believe that all demons are evil or whatever. But when you look into demonolatry and look at things through the lens of a demonologist, which, by the way, demonolatry and demonology are two different fields, you get this different picture. And it's kind of like studying aliens, people who think that all aliens are bad and people who think that all aliens are good. When you look at it, you get a different picture, and that is that there is no true black and white. So in the encounters, when aliens come along, believe it or not, it's probably going to be physical. Their physical bodies enter their personal space for good or ill, and they physically interact with you in some fashion or another. It doesn't matter if they floated through the walls or stepped out from the void, stepped out from the void between worlds. It is of absolutely no consequence that they're talking to you in astral, because somewhere out there they're doing it from within or astrally extruding from a physical body. It doesn't matter if their astral forms come from the 15th dimension. They are physical in some fashion, even if it's not copper-based like as we are. You are physical. Physical interaction is involved. For the person receiving the visitation, most memories of it are wiped away to leave only impressions of what happened. Okay, they wipe your memory. Okay, it's almost as if it was a dream for most people. This leaves a false impression for many that they've been visited by astral forms, or that everything they do is on some non-corporeal level. I personally have my doubts about it because of what scientific study and probing has found and uncovered, that many quote-unquote astral encounters weren't astral at all. What happens during these encounters? That's the question. Let's focus on that. From the moment when people are first being approached by them, whether they're friendly or not friendly. Many people who experience alien contact talk about how their visitors wait at the foot of the bed politely for them to come around. Dr. Jacobs' research, and I've got a link, has revealed that oftentimes their alien handlers will look them in the eye, deep in the eye, so that all the subject remembers seeing is the face up close and personal. Sometimes they don't show themselves at all until they absolutely have to, which of course leaves you jumping around going, what's that? What's that? It's because you feel like you're being watched. Now, at least with those aliens that have less than wholesome intentions, there's one theme that remains true. They come according to your creed and religion. And Dr. Carla Turner had documented an entire family who thought that their alien encounter was a visit from Jesus Christ, and defended it and said that their Jesus was beautiful, blue-eyed, blonde. Of course, he wouldn't have been because he was Middle Eastern. Some report seeing Krishna. One person that Dr. Carla Turner talked about thought he was running towards a beautiful angel, and it turned into a reptilian on him. Some think they see demons. Some think they see large animals such as white owls or deer. Others only remember glowing lights and a feeling of absolute joy. And then there's, my father thought he went on a walking around an Indian village in the past, but when you hear the whole story, you realize it probably wasn't that. The list goes on and on with a single running theme. How you remember them appearing is usually meant to endear you, or to at least get you to come closer. Christians do not normally see Krishna in these encounters, and Hindus do not see Jesus. What we see is personally tailored, so we feel compelled to go to what we're going to get. There are people that claim they can summon aliens or whatever, and we know all about that. We're going to skip that because it's not important right now. So it hit me when I wrote this article, which is a little bit old, how similar a demonic encounter can be to what I have read, stated, and experienced in regards to the alien phenomenon. Things aren't exactly similar though. So this article was me basically going through the information and thinking out loud while I tried to figure out, well, where's the difference? How can you tell? Because people are getting confused, and I feel it's important for, and I say it right here, for our life and liberty that we learn to be able to tell the two encounters apart so that we do not lie to ourselves, can protect our way of life, and most importantly, know when we are being lied to. The first similarity is the obvious one. There are people who can summon demons, kind of like those people that claim they can summon aliens. And like with the aliens, there are people the demons point and laugh at while hitting ignore on the phone call. And the part that frightens a lot of people the most, demons may decide to visit you without an invitation, just like the aliens do. This major difference with the a major difference is that for a demon to interact with you, they need a vessel. They are, as far as we can tell, non-corporeal beings, which means they have no physical form. They're like smoke. Well, they're not made of smoke. When you say something is like smoke, understand you're not saying it is made of smoke. What you're saying is you cannot reach out and grab and hold smoke. Okay, it's there, you can see it, but you can wave your hand through it. And a demon, those that can manifest to the naked eye, same situation. So they find ways to contact you either by touching your psychic sense while you were awake or while you are dreaming, sending a sign, or by some other means. And when touching you directly, you are, in a sense, a vessel, a means of communication for they must reach within your talents and manipulate your ability to see and hear them. When going through roundabout means, they must reach into something or another person's talents to do the same thing. They appear to use the same methods to get the same result. Okay. Demons can interact with you physically by means of possession, throwing objects at you, and manifesting so that you can see them with your physical eye. I'm sure there are other methods, but I'm not exactly an expert on demons here. I have been told by an expert that when demons come along, they rarely show themselves unless invited. Okay, that's important. In my experience, this hasn't been the case, but I could be wrong. I have yet to see a demon manifest into a solid object I could grab with my bare hands. I've yet to hear of someone who didn't turn out to be an abductee who was making the claim. Just the subtle difference between alien and demon encounters can be a beginning to tell the two apart, but I'm pretty sure it's not a sure thing at this stage. I welcome your input. Aliens, as I said before, will tailor your experience into what manipulates you the best. They've been known to contact via telepathy, astral travel, and in more hardcore documentation through machinery that stimulates any and all contact conditions you can find and describe, including demonic encounters. For example, let's address the many poltergeist and demonic encounters modern-day ghost hunters crave, and they crave it. A poltergeist is a specific type of spirit that is known to create physical disturbances when they are active. They throw objects at people, open doors, and even may try to smother you with your pillow. Aliens, especially hybrids, are also known to throw things. I can tell you this from experience, but I've also read some. Isn't that lovely? I've also read some reports about it. And possession, yes, the aliens have their ways of controlling you and making your body do what they want, of making you think that you had that thought. If it's a description of possession, aliens can replicate this, okay? That's been documented as well. Demons and aliens also tend to mirror, at least on the superficial level, why they have made contact. Both abductees and those who dance with demons say the same thing. Their contacts give them messages, teach them things, and usually have a lot to say. And this is where I start to finally find some really good differences. Most people contact demons because they want something. Believe it or not, okay? Kill my sister, heal my brother. There's always some personal motivation to it. Even if it's, I want to see what you're like. I've always wanted to see a demon. That's still a personal desire. From what I researched, though, according to the demonolatry point of view, from what I can gather on it, we humans do seem, at least the demonolatrists do, have a symbiotic relationship with them. So it's kind of 50-50. It's kind of scratch my back, I'll scratch yours when it comes to dealing with them. That's from what I've done and learned so far. I'm not, like I said, this is like, you know, the thing. And I don't really want to go into it because it's not the point. When a person is contacted by their alien handlers, it goes to more of a 10-90 ratio. And this I've gathered over time by watching and listening. The aliens always want something from us. Eggs, sperm, breastfeeding an alien hybrid, playing with children, teaching them how to play, teaching people how to interact, teaching them how to sit in a chair, I kid you not. Okay, make a report on some situation that affects their agenda. Name it, and it's probably something they wanted, so long as you understand that the end motivation was purely selfish on their part. Okay, there is no, even when they say, I'm worried about you, dig deeper, and it's always something to do with why they're worried about you. It's because you're going to affect something to do with them. There is a large number of people who claim their handlers are setting them up for a role that they will serve in alien society under alien dictatorship, of course. And we all know about the ones who go around talking about the ways we must achieve world peace through love, a global economy, and the alien way. Even with this last little bit, it's impossible to honestly say that what they are preaching isn't founded in the self-serving motivation to change our society to their mold and will. Claim that they love us all you want, but one has to question what sort of love requires you change your entire way of life to suit an alien race that doesn't even think like you do. And there's more. Some abductees report that their aliens healed them. There's one case that Dr. Turner was talking about where a woman had multiple fractures and broken bones, and she was abducted and came back healed the next day. The dark side to this is that every one person who claims the aliens did them some good, there are at least 10 who have nothing but pure negative experiences that range from rape to being brutally beaten while being raped. And this is completely taking out the MK Ultra MyLab experiences, by the way. This is pure alien hybrid talk on that. Some abductees report that they or their families were threatened in order to get them to behave. And I've actually had some tell me this one. You know, I'll hurt your children, I'll take your family. I've yet to hear of a demon doing something like that. I mean, a true demon, you know, like not they thought it was a demon and then probed and it turned out to be a reptilian in contact. I'm talking a true demon. And don't get me started on cow and human mutilations, okay, because that's a whole different thing. So perhaps the best way to figure out which is which is to explore motivation. S. Connolly, a very good book writer, she wrote The Complete Guide to Demonolatry, pretty good book so far, stated that even when a demon is giving someone negative experiences, it's usually with a lesson or some important point behind it. In other words, demons are usually looking out for you, your growth, and your well-being, according to the demonolatry way. I mean, I know that people don't agree with that, and I'm not here to argue one or the other. This is an article discussing how to tell the two encounters apart, and that meant that I had to address people who actually deal with demons on a personal level beyond pointing fingers at them, okay? And so moving on. When looking at all the hardcore ufology research, when an alien encounter is negative, it's because the alien did not give a flying fuck how hard you beg them to stop. Even in cases where it appears they looked out for someone's well-being, there was a deeper motive to it that had nothing to do with personal growth, and we do not have a symbiotic relationship with aliens. As Dr. Carla Turner explains it, we're like cattle and they're farmers. Or as Dr. Jacobs explains it, they're terraforming all culture for their selfish ends. There is one last caveat to the issue of being able to tell the two apart. Demons are more straightforward in their approach. They speak in metaphor, but overall what you see is what you get, so long as you can figure out what you've been handed. They want you aware, because being aware means you can function within their provided parameters. Aliens, on the other hand, work in as much secrecy as they can. They don't want you knowing on an aware level. And if you think you're on an aware level, a lot of people who have thought they were on an aware level, when probing, realized that they weren't. There's a book about that called Masquerade of Angels. It's old, it's dated, but it's the first one that comes to mind. I'm sure there are others. They lie. They will hand you metaphors. They will also give you what has been termed false memories. Those false memories cover other false memories. And those false memories might be masked in a false memory of a demon encounter, for all you know. I mean, it's just the way it works. So now at this point in the article, I was left trying to figure out how to tell the two apart, which is I say right here. Even when summoning a demon on purpose, if you know you are being visited by extraterrestrials, you have to suspect everything that happens. One way would be to find a decent hypnotherapist, but if you can't, you've got to figure out other ways. The best method on the other ways Learn more about the aliens and what's going on, good or bad. Step outside your comfort zone on the matter. Okay? Do some real research. Don't just decide you like what you're being told and stop. Okay? It's true what they say. Knowledge is power. There are also ways to test your body with a black light to see if you've been handled by a gray, but with the hybrids taking more of that, the hybrids don't always exude the oil that the grays do, so that's not as good as it used to be. So I decided that discovering motivation was the biggest key to this. And not just motivation, but reason and approach. I could akin an alien's offered information to a pervert giving a child an ice cream cone. They want you hooked on the flavor so they can get in your pants. So literally, I mean, eggs, sperm, yeah, they want you hooked on information, So in many cases, they offer the big stuff. How to pilot an interdimensional drive, or at least make you think you've been shown that. How wonderful it's going to be when you help all of the scared little people aboard the craft during that promised catastrophe. But demonic information, from what I've gathered and read by other people, doesn't seem to be on that level. Demonic information seems to be more on a personal level. You do this to guide yourself and that to guide yourself. But there's also a theory that when you're dealing with demons on a demonologist level, that you're dealing with actually your subconscious. So that would make better sense. Last but not least, it's important to recognize both of these phenomenon exist. It seriously annoys the shit out of me when I come across a magician who suddenly doesn't want anything to do with someone that believes in aliens. I mean, here they are, they're claiming they deal with these non-corporeal beings and they do all of these things that other people would say are crazy, and they're going to call you crazy because you study aliens or UFOs. It's really seriously hypocritical, and if you can't figure out why it's hypocritical, then as suggested in my article, go find a corner somewhere and think about it for a very long time. Meditate on it because it's hypocritical. Okay, and on the other hand, people who study the alien problem will throw their religious lens on faster than a thunderclap and accuse most magicians of practicing evil. And there's hypocrisy in that as well. But as seekers of the truth, we shouldn't point fingers in either direction. We're supposed to want to know the truth. This means we should truly want to know if our guides are demons or aliens, and that means finding out about both. And if they are one or the other, we should truly know what they want and behave accordingly. If you agree with what they want, that is your choice. But if you don't, and I personally don't, because I like the idea of my human society staying human, then you should behave accordingly to that, which is why I do the things I do. And my conclusion is, bad demon, good demon, bad alien, good alien. Being as both of these guide the lives of so many is a question that must be answered. And as I was going over the article today and noticing my spelling errors and getting ready to correct it, I realized that because my blog has like maybe one visitor, that this is something that I needed to say in public, hence this video. I know it was a little bit more boring than most, and you didn't get to see my ugly face, but hey, you were saved the look of my ugly face. And now I'm going to stop recording because my voice is tired from this. I'm not really good at reading long things without getting tired. If you want to find the blog, it's at Thingstead. You're not going to be able to see this because I don't have it set. Thingstead at thingstead.wordpress.com. And it's an old magician thing that I do very rarely. It's got like the skeleton of a Gormor in it, and information on rights. Well, I started doing information on rights and then real life, because I don't, if you wanted to call me a magician, I'd have to tell you I was a piss poor magician because I don't get to practice daily. I just look at stuff and I just, how can I put this? I read and I know things. So you can find it if you want, but the whole article has been here, so really all you gotta do is just put the freaking article on pause. And that's it for this go.